Welcome to the Liberace Mansion.
Welcome to Under the Vegas Sun, looking at the people, the events, and the news surrounding Las Vegas and the entire Vegas Valley. Hello, I'm Steve Schorr. We are live from the Liberace Mansion. It has always been interesting to me what makes an individual become a performer and what happens when it really doesn't meet all of their needs, all of their wants, all of their desires, and what happens when it does. Our special guest today on the program is a man who has gone through all of that, started it in a very, very interesting way, and ended up as a star in Las Vegas. His name is Wes Winters. You'll meet him in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. What does it take to become a star in Las Vegas? Sometimes it just happens, if your name is like Bruno Mars or Celine. But what happens if it takes all of your effort, all of your time, most of your life? When you become that star, for me, I think it means even more. Our very special guest today is a man who is that star, who has made his name in Las Vegas. But it was not as easy as some might want to believe. His name, Wes Winters. Wes, welcome to our program.
It is such a pleasure to be here with you.
I'm looking forward to it.
I love this. I love doing this. We laugh. You should see what they don't show. That's good stuff.
There is a time in my career, there was a time that I said to myself, why am I putting myself through this? When I wanted to be in television, started in radio, when I wanted to be in television, getting that first gig in television was years upon years of work.
Yeah.
Before I finally made it into television. Yeah. I'm sure for Wes Winters, making it onto a stage of Las Vegas was years and years of work. What did it do to you? What is that inside of you that drives you forward to want to become the success that you are today, considering all of the challenges? I don't use the F word. I don't use that failure word.
Exactly.
Okay? But all the challenges that you faced earlier in your career.
The thing, I think a person is you either have drive or you don't. That's one of those things you're born with.
Yep.
So if you have it, you push yourself, you never stop. And if you're smart with your drive, you create levels of goals that are attainable. You're supposed to learn early on, I think. You don't say, okay, I'm just learning to play the piano. I am going to be Horowitz in 5 years. That is not an achievable thing. So you create these steps that you can reach. You reach one, you go, yay, then you go to the next.
But I believe that that's the problem with life today somewhat. When I was young,
I agree.
You used to, you were required to set a goal. I was required to set a goal, what I was going to do this week, this month, this year. Yeah. And you knew what your goals were.
Yes.
And I personally believe in order for a goal to become reality, you needed to write it down. You needed to have it someplace that you could see it. And,
yes.
And when I talk to young people today about goals, they're not goal-driven as much as we were in our generation.
No, they're not.
That's a problem today.
It is, but I'll tell you, you do find some. What is amazing about this? I just did like a lecture Q&A session at the Las Vegas Academy for the Arts, where those kids that have to audition. I love that place. I told them, and I do an hour once a year with them, and it's with all of their music students, their graphic arts students, their dance students, their anything that's artistically inclined. They come in and they can ask me anything. I am so impressed every single time that I'm there. These kids have drive. They have achievable goals. They know how to structure their goals so that they can reach one and use that as a step to reach another step. So it's still there. But society today doesn't teach you that that's necessary because everybody wants instant gratification, pretty much with everything. You've learned with television, attention span is this long. Mm-hmm. So you have to hurry up and cut it and do this, and you got to make it exciting. Otherwise, the younger generation, they're like click, 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 and that's what they do.
It is the instantaneousness of their lives.
And there's so much available.
And not that that's
now.
wrong. Not that that's wrong. And I don't want to make it sound like it's wrong to be instantaneous and to get that reflection back. You get it from Facebook, you get it from Instagram.
Right.
I'm not saying that's wrong, but when you consider where you want to go in life, it becomes even more problematic. And the reason why I say that is you started off at a very young age. Yeah. And I don't know if you did not have that goal, if you would be where you are today.
I knew when I was 3 exactly what I was going to do. So I didn't know I did.
Come on.
I'm not joking.
3 years old, all I want to know is where was the potty. Come on. How did you know that at 3 years?
And you finally got it. I'm so happy for you.
And they made it into chairs.
Yeah, these are Liberace's chairs. You need to be real careful and know that for sure. But
okay.
Yeah, there we go. Woo! But no, seriously, I did. I knew at 3 years old, I played my first instrument at 3. And I knew I was going to be a performer. That's what I wanted. That's all I wanted.
3 years old.
Yes.
And you never took formal lessons from what I understand. You played by ear. Mm-hmm. You heard, from what I understand, you tell me if I'm wrong, you heard Liberace play at 5 years old.
Yes.
And you, at 5 years old.
On TV.
And you then followed his performances.
Yes.
Believed in his performances. And you wanted to be Liberace.
I thought that music sounded so happy. Everything he played, no matter what it was, it had a really happy,
Right.
The music had a smile in it, no matter if it was slow, fast. That's what attracted me. And so that's why I watched him and I thought, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
How does a 5-year-old learn to play piano by ear to the point of where you eventually won the Liberace Sound-Alike contest? And eventually you even played for a long time in the Liberace Museum that was on Tropicana here in Las Vegas. Yeah. During his lifetime. It was a wonderful place.
It was a great place.
And you played there as Liberace.
It was funny. When I did, well, the reason that all kind of happened, I saw him and he inspired me to play the piano. Because I played accordion and guitar. Accordion at 3, guitar at 4, and then started piano at 5 after I saw him.
Accordion at 3 years old.
Yes.
An accordion is bigger than a 3-year-old.
You have different sizes. So it was a small accordion, a 12 bass.
They're like chairs, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But you're thinking of those great big with all the black buttons.
Exactly.
They have little ones when people learn that are 12 buttons on the back instead of 120. That's what I learned on. And what it did though, and I have people ask me this all the time, it teaches you to be able to separate your left and your right hand because you're doing something completely different with this hand, and with this hand, and you got to keep the air going.
One is the buttons.
Yes.
And the other one are the keys.
Yes. So that's why, for me...
It's like walking and chewing gum at the same time.
It is, which I have a hard time
doing.
Still.
So do I. I got that.
And thinking. But no, that's what I did. And when I moved to the piano, this hand already could kind of do its own thing. Because the left hand is the hard hand for a pianist, generally.
Well, if you're right-handed.
If you're right-handed.
I'm left-handed.
Okay.
So I would think left hand would be okay. Right hand would be more problematic.
It would be. And I think it's interesting, but it's that separation in your mind of this hand doing one thing and this one doing something else.
Okay, now let me ask you, I'm glad you brought this up, because I always believed that when I watched somebody play to the level that you play, that the right hand is the melody hand.
Yes.
And the left hand is more of the rhythm hand and is the backup hand.
It's your bass, and basically your left hand is the bottom end of the band.
Right.
So that's what you fill it in so you can have the melody up here on top.
So I would think for a left-handed individual that would be very, very problematic, because your dominant hand would be your left hand, and that would want to be where your melody is, when it's just the opposite.
It is the opposite, but the way your brain learns, especially if you're a child, doing it as a child.
Especially learning by ear.
Yes, yeah. Your brain kind of just understands music, so you understand that this hand has to play the melody. This hand does not. So whether you're left-handed, right-handed, ambidextrous, whatever it is, you just your brain knows that, and that's how it formulates and creates those neural pathways to make that happen. And this is so silly. I've read so many books about the brain and music, and they are the most boring, horrid read you'll ever have in your life, but fascinating if you're somebody who's a musician.
There is this wonderful CD called, it's Wes Winter's Las Vegas. Rather boring picture on the front. Typically it's Wes with some showgirls.
Yep.
And this CD really highlights the talent that you have. We're going to take a break for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
When we come back, I would love to have you move over to Liberace's Traveling Grand Concert Piano.
Formerly traveling.
Formerly. Well, it still does move on its own, can I tell you?
Well, I'm sure he likes to move it sometimes.
But if I can get you to go move over there and play some of Liberace for us.
Okay.
Because I think I want the audience to understand this amazing talent that's sitting next to me, because you are one of those rare individuals that I think is, and we'll talk about that later, but you are not only a performer, you're a showman. And I think we've lost a little bit of that in Las Vegas. So we're going to take a break for a couple seconds. We'll be back. And I'm telling you, this man on the piano is all of this and more. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Mark Chinook from Monday's Dark, and you are watching Under the Vegas Sun with Steve Schorr.
An amazing man, an amazing performer, Wes Winters. And I'm telling you, wait till you see this man perform. Welcome back to our show, Wes. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Okay, before we get you to play on these 88s, there is a part of you that I honestly believe, when I've seen you play and I've seen you become the performer at the piano, that becomes a little bit of Liberace. Your style, your effervescence, and I don't use that much when it comes to playing piano, but there is an effervescence that happens when you play, especially play things that Liberace played.
Yeah. I think for me, I still love what I do. I love playing music. It's still, I feel exactly the same. I've been performing, September was my 30th anniversary of performing for a living professionally. So after 30 years of doing this, I feel the same way now that I did the first day that I did this. So it makes, it's kind of who I am. And so without that, I don't know what I would even be.
But there is something, and I've talked to the audience before about it, there is something that I believe that says when you find that thing in your life that meets the passion of who you are inside, it never becomes a job. It never becomes something that is fleeting and goes by tomorrow. It is exactly what you say. You have so much enjoyment today as you did when you first started.
And that's why you probably think about Liberace a little bit, because he was exactly the same way. I think he thoroughly enjoyed what he did. Right up to the very last show he played, the guy had a ball playing. And you can hear it. That's what I mean. You hear it in the music. The music has a smile in it. No matter what it is, it's happy. It can be like a really beautiful requiem from a mass. It can be a very heavy classical. It can be anything. It is happy.
This is his concert grand piano that traveled with him for a great period of time of his career. This is his original tip jar. This is his original.
Really, it is?
This is his original tip jar before he became
wacky.
famous.
That's wacky.
So if I figured out if I'm going to have you play, I might as well put a couple of dollars in there to see if you can talk you into playing.
So that means I got to play something.
Now you have to play something.
Listen to you get drunk and tell me your sad story.
That's exactly it. Ken, I have so many. You don't want to even start there. Do you want to? Would you do me a favor and play a piece that Liberace would play in the way that you won the contest of Liberace Sound-Alike, and you became Liberace at his wonderful museum here in town, and play a little bit of him.
Okay, I'll play a segment of the piece. And just so you know, this is the crack of dawn for me. So this is a segment of the piece that I think won the contest for me.
Really?
And yes. And it's not, it's like I said, I don't read music, so it's my
I noticed
own.
how you threw your tails over the chair.
There's an actual real purpose to that, because you sit on your coat. And so and I mean, it's like I have a button poking me right in a bad spot right here, so I'm gonna scoot that. You just have to get comfortable, because it really, you do. But when you sit on your coat, it's uncomfortable, so you just flip it back.
I got it. You don't have to explain to me.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's oh, all right. All right. Help me not hit wrong notes. Okay, here we go. There's a little segment.
You have to take a breath after that. I mean, you put absolutely everything into that. Everything into that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a funny thing. This watch I have one of those new watches that connects with your phone, and it gives you your heart rate and all this stuff. When I finish a show, because it counts steps, so for your exercise, I usually have about 16,000 steps.
No.
That's what it counts.
You're kidding.
So when I do a 3-hour show, it's like running a marathon.
No kidding.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, in watching, hopefully the audience watched you at the same. When you play that, you almost take on the same features as Lee had. Your face, you sing, you talk to what you're playing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. I've seen a psychiatrist for that. No, I don't know.
Please
But
don't,
no, but
please
you
don't
do.
carry around a puppet with you.
That's a whole different show. But no, but actually, the piano's my best friend. It always has been, and it kind of always will be. So there's a connection. Growing up, the piano was my best friend, my therapist, when I was sad, when you're happy, you told that and just shared that, and that's how I grew up. So I mean, I do talk to my pianos, and they're my buddies.
Is there a time when you say to yourself, have I gotten as good or as great as I really want to be?
Every day. Every single day.
Really?
And every single day before I walk on to perform, I'm terrified. I have that second of just absolute devastating stage fright. And then you walk on and it goes away.
Okay, so I've got to tell you, that's amazing to me. I've been doing this for 40 years, what I'm doing today. 40 years. Every time that camera goes on, I become frightened, nervous, and the nerves just kind of go.
It's the butterflies. It's the butterflies, and it's that terrifying butterfly feeling.
But when I stop feeling that, I won't do this anymore.
That is exactly the trick, because that's what keeps you sharp, that's what keeps you on, and that's what pushes you. That's part of the drive.
That is part of the drive.
Yes, it is.
That is part of the drive. And tell me how you explain that. I know you do a lot in schools. I know you talk a lot with the youngsters. How do you explain that to young people who have that, as we talked earlier, that instantaneous gratification, what they seek, but yet that which we have, this thing, becomes so powerful.
You can't. They either have it or they don't. It's one of those things. That's something you can't learn. So, and you immediately can sense when you're talking to people, you can sense it that you have it. You can sense it when somebody has it because you just feel it. I can be on stage and I can feel when another performer walks in the room and I don't even have to look up.
Really?
You feel it.
You know it.
Yep, you just know it. You are somebody who does something that has that thing. You just feel it. It like zips right across the room and you just know it.
I've been in rooms with people like Frankie Shinta, and the moment that he walks in, you know there's a performer. Clint Holmes, same thing.
Yeah.
The moment he walks, you know
They
it's a performer.
fill every
room.
inch of that room.
Right.
And that's why when they're done, they are exhausted and they're ready to fall down. Because when you do that, and the bigger the room, that's why I look at people like Liberace, people like anybody who performs in a giant theater or a giant stadium, that is exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Because you walk out, you have to fill that entire space with yourself and command their attention for X amount of time.
There's another side of the Wes Winters that I know. There's another side of this amazing performer. By the way, for folks that come to Las Vegas or in Las Vegas, he performs at Sam's Town, at South Point, and at
The Rampart.
The Rampart. So there's a lot of places you can catch him. But there's another side of you. There's a side of you that is this amazing composer, but a man who is not afraid to share his heart. I would love for you to come back again next week on the program. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about the one thing that you are that is so rare to see today, and that's being a showman. So
I would love to.
if you could come back.
And thank you. That's what I like. I like that.
Cool. I'm telling you that the other side of this man is something that I think we need to share with you, because not that side.
No.
It was not that side, I promise. We'll talk more in just a couple of seconds. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I think you'll agree with me. It's fascinating how much Wes can sound and play like Liberace. But there is another side of Wes. Everything from Jerry Lee Lewis to Rachmaninoff. In our next program, you'll see that other side of this wonderful man, a performer in Las Vegas, Wes Winter. Until the next time, be safe and enjoy life under the Vegas sun.